Everybody, welcome to Storm Talk. This is Wave 3 News meteorologist Brian Good. I hope you enjoyed the transition from winter to spring, and it certainly felt like something happened, right? Sarcasm. All right, Storm Talk, we do have two systems of interest that I'm tracking when it comes to thunderstorm potential. And again, this is where we monitor to see if they're going to be strong or severe. It doesn't mean they are going to be severe. It just means they're systems that we are monitoring. Now, I try to go out about 14 days. This time of the year, it is difficult to go out even that far. So I try to stick closer to the 7-day range, but if I see strong enough data, I'll go beyond that. But at this point, I can't. For this update, we got Thursday and we've got Easter. All right, I'll get to that in a second. First off, let's talk about today. Beautiful out, fair weather cumulus, no major problems. Temperatures outside, 50 here in town, 47 in Corydon. Litchfield right now, about 46. Oh, yeah, it's cool. Outside, we got a northwest wind, that's to be expected, but I think we'll get a few more degrees added on here because, again, the sun's setting later and later, and the sun angle's getting higher and higher, so we will hit our high temperature closer to 5 or 6 p.m. versus 3 o'clock we normally would see in the winter time, so we got time to still get up there today. Here's a wider view of the lower 48. Look how quiet it is. Man, oh man, nice and dry. We do have our weather maker for Thursday way out here, and that's the problem with Thursday that we'll talk about is it's just now being sampled in the northwest, and that's the reason why we still need one more day to really fine-tune some details on that. But one thing I want to point out on the visible satellite, I love visible satellites, probably you've noticed that, is when that front comes through the Atlantic there, the warmer waters, again, allowing for the revealing cold air aloft to show the clouds, the stratus clouds that develop there as a result of the cold air being rushed in from the north. Kind of a cool shot. It shows you how far south that cool air went over the weekend. All right, so let's talk about the short range. It's going to get chilly tonight. We may see some frost in some areas, but overall the winds should be a little stronger tonight and out of the south. That's a good thing. That's a warming wind, so we still can find some 30s, especially along and east of 65, the valley areas, most at risk for some patchy frost tonight. The more west you go, you're going to be more into that southern flow, and therefore you will likely stay out of the frost danger for tonight, even though technically the growing season has not begun here into wave country. University of Kentucky Ag Department, they determined that, and at this point they have not determined that. Now, I know a lot of you may disagree with that. You may have grass growing and flowers growing, but officially has not been declared. We will let you know when that happens. All right, Tuesday, overachieving day, dry air, south winds out of the southwest. The models say 64. We're going to go higher than that because we usually do go higher than the models indicate in warm air convection scenarios, especially with the dew points being low. Wednesday is a little different. Still looks warm, but we will have more moisture being thrown at us. In fact, when I look at the GFS, I love this from Weather Bell. It's a great look at the different layers of the atmosphere at cloud cover potential. And you see we have some high clouds potentially, but not that many. And once you get lower into the atmosphere, though, that is when, this is the total cloud cover in the top left, but what I want to draw your attention to is the lower cloud deck could develop. And this could be more of a lower stratus deck that could become nimbostratus, produce a few sprinkles or light rain showers, especially west of 65 as we head into Wednesday afternoon. So it could be warm and windy, and in fact it will be warm and windy on Wednesday, but it may not be as pretty as what I try to stress to you guys. Tuesday looks pretty, Wednesday not as pretty, and there could be a few sprinkles around the area based on these low-level clouds moving in. All right, and the wind, I mentioned this is the Buffett profile for Louisville. Again, you read this right to the left, by the way, in time. And this is looking at the ground up. And what I'm looking for is the stronger winds. Now, this draws, I mean, you see that right off the bat. That is the front for Thursday. And you see these stronger winds getting close to the ground, but they're not overly close to where my eyes are going off the chart here, thinking, oh no, we need to worry about severe weather because instability is the only way you can tap into those higher winds. I mean, they're close enough that, yes, you can get severe weather, but at this point, instability may keep us from tapping into those winds just above the surface. But notice that even starting tomorrow, through this entire period, we got a lot of yellow and green showing up, which is telling me that there is going to be just this constant windy period that we're going to be having starting tomorrow. Wind gusts 30 to 40 miles per hour. So it is going to be windy the next several days. That's the reason why we're going to warm up. After that, we see the winds relax, and then as we get into Easter weekend, this weekend, we begin to see the winds ramp up again as we have another system. You can see that in the upper levels as well, beginning to impact the area, and that's where the forecast gets a little nuts. All right, so let's talk about Thursday. The GFS just came in. It is faster. It brings the front and the thunderstorm potential in here Thursday morning. And then colder air behind it, it tries to show snow. Any chance for flakes, I think, will be north of I-70. I'm not worried about that here. But colder is waiting to Thursday. It could be falling temperatures, in fact, Thursday afternoon into Friday. It is showing some instability early in the day to our west. This is the leftovers from the Wednesday instability, but it will fade once it hits 65. So, again, instability is just weak with this on the GFS. Canadian model, which I don't have the Euro, by the way, because the Euro is just now running because of daylight saving time. It comes in later, so it's hard to put it on the blog. But the Canadian has a tendency to really hint what the Euro is going to do. That's why I want to show it. The Canadian is slower at the front, moves in around lunchtime to early afternoon Thursday. That would allow for maybe some stronger winds to be the result there. We have maybe a more instability to work with. If the Canadian's right and those stronger winds aloft could be brought to the ground. So there is a chance for some severe thunderstorm warnings to be issued on Thursday. But right now, the data is supporting more the idea of them being strong wind gusts and staying below severe limits, and mainly just a rain event. But we will watch it. I don't see anything alarming at this point that has drawn concern. And notice, too, it's also more of a positive tilt, so straight line wind's more of an issue. So the tornado threat, for those of you that always are wondering about tornadoes, is not showing up. It really is a high threat here either. So some good news there. And to kind of back that up, look at the Schreff model. This is the dew point forecast. Usually our benchmark, once we get into the spring, is closer to 60-degree dew points. And notice our dew point never really gets there. So again, that's another downer and helping us avoid severe weather. I mean, you can get severe weather once you get into the 50-degree dew point, which is riding through here, but it's not as likely and it's a little more of a challenge. But notice where the drops, so we'll see a dew point drop when the front comes through. Notice where the model members here are varying in time between late Wednesday night, Thursday morning, to Thursday midday when the front comes through. It's trying to do an average of the black line here of the drop by Thursday midday, but you can see even the Schreff model is having a tough time on timing issues of when the front and thunderstorms arrive. So we, for those of you trying to plan out Thursday, just stay tuned. We'll keep you updated. All right, the weekend. We know Friday's going to be chilly for the weekend. GFS is going to be dry and warm in the 60s. Canadian backs that up as well. So confidence is high on a dry forecast for Saturday. Easter Sunday. The GFS has got a low pressure. It develops in the south. A lot of moisture with it, showers, and even some cape developing along I-65 in Kentucky. And the reason that is showing is because it's showing a few sun breaks to get us in the upper 60s. So there could be some gusty thunderstorms for Easter Sunday, but it does look wet on the GFS. The Canadian is just a few hours slower on bringing it in. It may cloud up, but for Easter services in the morning and through about midday, we may get lucky if the Canadian's right. It also would therefore be warmer too, probably in the 70s. We'll try to figure out how Easter is going to play out. At this point, don't cancel your plans or adjust them. Just know that there is going to be a chance for a washout, especially the more in time we go into Easter Sunday versus the morning. We'll monitor that. What is interesting, though, is the Canadian is trying to show a very cold blast behind this for about a week from today after Easter. It does even show accumulating snow in our region. I'm not going to show that map because I think it's bogus right now. But I do think it is leading on to the idea that I still feel that we are not done with an accumulating snow event in the wave country area for the season yet. April, to me, is still showing up with cold shots. I know you guys are wondering about Thunder Global. I can't tell you that at this point, but I do think the data is still there. One reason why, this is where the discussion is going to flip, and I'm running out of time, so I'll try to get this as much as I can covered. El Nino is beginning to fade. Look at the amount of energy in the Eastern Pacific has really dropped. So El Nino is just about to disappear, in fact. This will really impact, for the first time in a while, this could really impact the hurricane season. The Eastern Pacific may calm down after a very active couple of years, which means the Atlantic may actually pick up. Now, when I look at all the years, when I've seen strong El Ninos and then reverse to a La Nina. El Nino is the warming of the Pacific Ocean. La Nina is the opposite, is the cooling of the Eastern Pacific. And we've seen that a few times. The most dramatic one stand out to me is 87-88, 97-98, and yeah, there is a 73-74 as well. But those are the years when we saw a Nino spike and then a dramatic drop in the indices. Sure enough, the models are trying to take us down to some really low levels for a strong La Nina by the fall. I mean, I looked at the data at 1998. What happened? Well, we saw a lot of thunderstorm action beginning in June, showers and thunderstorms. Wasn't really hot. The hottest was about 95, 97, which is hot, but nothing extreme. And we stayed warm all the way through December. In 1998, I remember this one quite well. We hit 100 degrees right off the bat and stayed hot. Very few thunderstorms. The drought took place, and then we stayed mild all the way through December as well, and 88. What that is telling me is that they're both different. One says hot and dry. One says active and stormy and wet. What the data is trying to signify is that anytime we've had a strong El Nino go to a strong La Nina, we see dramatic weather events take place in our area. I can't tell you what that's going to be yet, but at this point, this summer and fall may be unusual. And I'll just leave it at that, and we'll focus on that more on a later update.